So here we've got a photo of Clifford, who is a mathematician and philosopher in the 19th century. And Clifford, in this paper that he wrote, this talk he delivered called The Ethics of Belief, as I said before, there's a lot of papers that are going to be referenced called The Ethics of Belief. Um, Clifford begins his argument by thinking about a story to do with a ship and a ship owner. And the idea is we're meant to be considering a ship owner who has evidence that his ship needs expensive repair. So he's considering whether to send this, um, merchant ship out on a job, and he knows that the ship is not in the best state of repair possible. It's got a lot of work that needs to be done for it, and a lot of these issues are leading to kind of potential safety issues with the ship. But the owner doesn't want to pay to repair the ship. He wants to just send it out on one last job, collect the money, and then see what happens after that. And so, with wishful thinking, the owner of the ship convinces himself that everything is fine. So he forms the belief about the ship that nothing will go wrong. He forms the belief that the problems with the ship aren't nearly as bad as the evidence actually suggests. However, when the ship goes out to sea, the ship sinks, and the owner collects the insurance money despite all the crew having died. So this is an example that Clifford uses to kind of motivate the principle that he's about to give and the argument that he's about to suggest. So he argues that obviously the ship owner has done something wrong. He's caused the death of these people by his kind of negligence and sending the ship out by sending the ship out when it shouldn't have been. But the interesting thing about this case is because of the belief that he's formed, the ship owner has been acting kind of sincerely. So he's been doing what he genuinely believes to be correct, but because he's convinced himself that it's correct based on dodgy reasoning, that's what Clifford is objecting to. So both the consequences of his action, but also the belief that the owner formed. So as I say here, Clifford says that we're going to blame the owner for his belief that the ship was safe because he ignored all the evidence available to him. So he shouldn't have formed this belief because the evidence was right there in front of him that the ship was in pretty shabby condition. It wasn't something that was fit to be sailed, and it posed a risk to all of the sailors that were on board it. However, despite this, evidence to the contrary, the ship owner, because he, wanted to believe something, wanted to believe that it was safe, convinced himself that it was so. And so, even though he had a sincere belief that it was safe, there's no exemption for his belief, and there's no exemption for the ship owner from blame because he's still done something wrong. And Clifford goes so far as to say, even if we imagine the case where the ship remains intact, so maybe the crew get lucky this time and the ship doesn't meet its end like it does in the original case. Clifford says the owner is just as responsible for his belief. So the belief is just as bad because it has been formed still with ignorance towards the evidence. So this is kind of Clifford's main contention. So based on this case that we've got here about the ship, he says that we're going to blame the owner for forming his belief on the basis of bad evidence.